Let's talk about Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. The Broncos are a true dark horse entering the 2025 season in the AFC. We hear about so many teams like the Steelers. They're bringing in Aaron Rodgers. They're getting a lot of national attention. The same with Kansas City, three straight Super Bowl appearances. They just lost to the Eagles. Can they bounce back for this upcoming year? And even the Cincinnati Bengals. So many people, they love Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. But one team that hasn't gotten that attention this offseason is the Denver Broncos. I don't understand why. The Denver Broncos went to the NFL playoffs for the first time last season since 2015. And we all know what happened in 2015. They won that Super Bowl over the Carolina Panthers. They had their first winning season since 2016. Sean Payton is still one of the best head coaches in football. He went out there and he made a drastic decision. He realized that Russell Wilson was not going to be his guy long term. So they decided to move on from Russ. Now, this is very important to bring up because of all the picks that you traded to bring in Russell Wilson a couple of years ago from Seattle. And I've talked about this trade before in the past. It was a terrible trade in hindsight for the Broncos, but I still don't blame them for going out there and making this move. They were desperate. They haven't had a franchise quarterback since Peyton Manning. And even that last year with Peyton, he wasn't the same guy. You've had a revolving door at this quarterback position with Trevor Siemian. The same with Brock Osweiler, Case Keenum, Joe Flacco, just to name a few. So you draft Bo Nix in the first round, coming over from Oregon. And it was a lot of questions about Bo Nix. He's an older rookie. Can he go out there? Can he really be this great quarterback that the Broncos are looking for? Was rookie season was spectacular. If it was for Jaden Daniels, he would have won Rookie of the Year. He had 29 passing touchdowns to 12 interceptions, 430 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. Bo Nix, for the first half of the season, he was up and down, especially for the first 3 games. He didn't look particularly good. But as the season progressed, he started to look like a franchise quarterback every single week. He was able to push the football deep down the field effectively enough, something that a lot of scouts said that he was not able to do at a high level when he was at Oregon, and the same at Auburn. He was able to do that every single week past week 8. 2 guys like Courtland Sutton and the same with Marvin Mims deep down the middle of the field, especially against the Cleveland Browns Monday Night Football game. We saw Bo Nix go out there and be more comfortable with using motion with Sean Payton. And that's one thing that I do want to bring up for a second. Sean Payton has used a lot of motion in the past with Drew Brees. He didn't use much motion early on with Bo Nix. Those last 3 games, he started to use more motion. Expect for him to use more motion for this upcoming season with Bo Nix, and the same with them bringing in a tight end like Evan Ingram, who's just a matchup nightmare with linebackers, and the same with safeties. More on him in a second. But when I get to go back and look at Bo Nix and the games that he played in last year, he did a great job, and the weapons around him weren't the best. Courtland Sutton, he's a true number 1 wide receiver. That's why they just gave him a contract extension. He's been held back by terrible quarterback play, year in and year out. While they were going through that quarterback drought, he's been their best wide receiver. They let Jerry Jeudy go. They traded him to the Cleveland Browns. I wish that he was still on this team, but he's no longer here. The wide receiving weapons were not the best last year with Bo Nix. And the running back position was up and down. Javonte Williams wasn't a bad running back, but he was more so of a power back. He hasn't been the same guy since he tore his ACL a few years ago. So the run game was inconsistent, but the offensive line saved them, and the same with the coaching staff. And with Bo Nix's ability to make a lot of plays behind the line of scrimmage. He only got sacked 24 times. And I'll say this about the front office. They have done a great job of building this offensive line through free agency, and the same with the NFL draft. Garrett Bowles, you select him in the first round many years ago. He just signed a contract extension. He's a phenomenal tackle, one of the best left tackles in the game. Mike McGlinchey comes over from the San Francisco 49ers. He's a very good player at that position. Quinn Myers is a very good right guard. Ben Powers is a very good left guard. And Luke Wattenberg, very good player. Those first 3 weeks, the offensive line had a lot of problems. But once again, as the season progressed, they looked better and they got more comfortable around Bo Nix, and they did a better job of protecting him. And that's the key here. If this offensive line can come straight out the gate and they can dominate up front, they're going to be held to face on the offensive end. Their defense is already amazing. And we're going to really get deep into their defense in the back half of this video. But their offense just looks better on paper for this upcoming year than they were last season, with Bo Nix entering year 2. With this veteran head coach in Sean Payton, who won a Super Bowl many decades ago with Drew Brees, he helped develop Drew Brees to that next level. Drew Brees was a good quarterback with the Chargers, don't get me wrong, but he was not a superstar just yet. He goes over to the Saints. Sean Payton is there. It was a match made in heaven. I'm not saying that Bo Nix is the next Drew Brees. No one will be the next Drew Brees. But if Bo Nix can go out there and build off that rookie season, he can be one of the best quarterbacks in the AFC, and that's what you're looking for. And I look at a team like Kansas City. They have to be careful here. With the defense that Denver has, they can go out there and they can bully them up front in every single matchup going forward. And the same with the Los Angeles Chargers. This is a tough division between three teams, between Kansas City, the Chargers, and the Broncos. It was really a rebuilding year last year for the Broncos. And the fact that you go 10-7, you make the NFL playoffs, that's a successful season. Now, the pieces that they added in to bring around Bo Nix and to bring around Courtland Sutton, Evan Ingram, he's a very good tight end. The only thing that bothers me with Evan Ingram is his health. That's it. But he was a very good receiving tight end for a couple of years there with the Jacksonville Jaguars. With the Giants, he couldn't catch the football. But there's a reason why he was selected in the first round many years ago. When you take a look at the New York Giants, usually when players leave, they get better. Look at Saquon, goes to the Eagles, has a career year, just won a Super Bowl. We'll see if Daniel Jones can be a better player without the New York Giants with the Colts. And Daniel Jones was a terrible quarterback. You put him on the Jacksonville Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence and that offense, Evan Ingram was a top receiving tight end when he was fully healthy. Now, as a blocker, you're not getting much. He's a wide receiver in a tight end's body. But he's a matchup nightmare. Linebackers, they can't cover him one-on-one in short yardage situations. Safeties, he's bigger than them. He's more physical and he's faster. He's not going to be this deep threat. You're not going to have him go out there and run deep routes down the field. That's not a tight end's job. But he can eat up space underneath. And he can open up things for other guys on the outside like Courtland Sutton. Now you can have a number two option that's consistent. I love Marvin Mims as a deep threat. He's a very good special teams player. When the Denver Broncos got blown out by the Miami Dolphins a few years ago, he had a special kick return in that matchup. He has blazing speed, but it takes more than just having blazing speed to be a consistent wide receiver at this level. They need Marvin Mims to do a better job in terms of route running ability and catching ability as well. But he's had those big time moments over and over again for Denver. If he can bring it in together, he could be a solid number two wide receiver in this system alongside Courtland Sutton. Devon had some good moments last year. I don't know if he could be a consistent number two and number three long term. You also look at Troy Franklin. He was a very good player coming out of Oregon. He got to play with Bo Nix. But I'm not expecting for Troy Franklin to go out there and to be this big time wide receiver every single week. This is going to be an offense that runs off their offensive line, their quarterback's athleticism, and Courtland Sutton and hopefully Evan Ingram. The Broncos aren't perfect. Their offense is not going to be a top 5 unit in football. I'm not predicting that. But they should be better for this upcoming year than they were last season. With Sean Payton being able to go out there and fully give Bo Nix the entire playbook. Because he did take it easy on him last year. And we got to see that early on in the season. He started to open up the playbook. Bo Nix got more comfortable. And we saw them stretch the field just a little bit more. But their deep threat is most definitely Marvin Mims. Courtland Sutton's the number one wide receiver on the outside. It's a matchup nightmare. If Evan Ingram can just go out there and be consistent and stay healthy, you're going to be okay there. Because the running back room, you have J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins had a career year last year with the Chargers, but he's always dealt with injuries. No one questions J.K. Dobbins as a talent. We know that the talent is there. But a torn Achilles in the past, a torn ACL in the past, it has taken years off of his career. He is still a very good explosive running back. He made some special plays last year with the Los Angeles Chargers. He was the best running back on that team. He comes over to the Denver Broncos. He's not going to be the true bell cow. This is going to be running back by committee. This is the one thing with Sean Payton that is so weird, but it's so interesting when you watch it on film. And even when you go back and you watch games, even with the New Orleans Saints, it's always running back by committee. There'll always be that one special running back that stands out. But even with Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara, he split carries with them. He's not going to just go out there and just say, J.K. Dobbins, give me 20 to 25 carries every single week. He may only get 8 carries one game. He may only get 12 carries the next game. Let's not forget that they drafted R.J. Harvey with the 60th pick out of UCF, an explosive running back, big play ability over and over again. He had 1,577 rushing yards, 22 rushing touchdowns. That's insane. And he averaged 7 yards a carry. Now, that's a UCF. I'm not expecting for him to come into the NFL and average 7 yards a carry. But he could be that big play running back that they're looking for. that Alvin Kamara type that can catch the football out of the backfield, that can run in between the tackles and can break defenders down in open space. While J.K. Dobbins comes in and he's the every down back in a way. You have Jaleel. He was solid last season, and the same with Estime. You have 4 talented running backs on your roster, and I expect for the Denver Broncos to keep all 4 running backs around. You're not going to cut J.K. Dobbins. If he goes down with an injury, that would suck. Let's knock on wood. But once again, he has been able to stay fully healthy in his career. He goes down for a couple weeks, you're still golden with those 3 running backs. And we've seen the Denver Broncos go out there and run their system through their running backs and through their tight ends in the past, just in this previous year, and with Bo Nix using his legs. It's going to be a lot of eye candy for the defense to worry about with the different motions and the 2-back systems and the possibility with them putting Evan Ingram inside the slot. We've seen the Jaguars use him as a slot wide receiver at times because of the versatile ability that he has. But it's going to come down to his offensive line and play calling with Sean Payton. I say this every single time I talk about Sean Payton. Even when Drew Brees retired, I'm not worried about his offense being one of the worst offenses in football. He's just a great offensive mind. It's not the prettiest. You're not going to go out there and find wide receivers to have a 150-yard game. It may come down to wide receiver by committee and the same running back by committee. That's okay. He only cares about winning. And if the quarterback can get the football out quick, and he doesn't turn the football over at a high level, you're going to be in good standing with Sean Payton. And that's the problem that Russell Wilson ran into, held onto the football for a very long time. Turnovers behind the line of scrimmage. That's going to hurt you. He even did a solid job with Russell Wilson. I didn't think that Russ was a terrible quarterback his last year with Denver. It just didn't work. It just didn't pan out. He was a washed-up quarterback. Let's just call it for what it is. And the Broncos, they're very competitive. They decided to sit him down. They went out there. They lost those games. That's okay. They could have possibly made a playoff push in their first season with Sean Payton. The coaching is amazing on the offensive end. Now, defensively, this is where they're going to stand out. Their defense is phenomenal. Even dating back to last season with Vance Joseph being the defensive coordinator who was the former head coach of his organization. I'm going to say this. He will be getting head coaching interviews once again after this upcoming year. That's my one prediction. He is a phenomenal defensive coach. Everywhere he has been, he has produced great defenses in the past. They were 7th in total defense, 3rd in rushing defense. The only reason why their passing defense took a hit is because of that terrible game against the Cleveland Browns. And they still won that matchup, by the way, because of Bo Nix and because their defense was able to come away with a pick 6. The only reason to why Jameis Winston had the passing yards in that matchup, Riley Moss was out for that game. And you may laugh and you may say Riley Moss, he's not a top cornerback in football, but he's a top cornerback with the Denver Broncos. He's a special player. He's not going to get the same recognition as a Patrick Surtain, as a Sauce Gardner. And that's okay. But he's still a special player to have. You can make the case that he's their second best defensive player in the secondary. I still like Jaquan McMillan a lot inside the nickel, but Riley Moss is special. And they play a lot of zero blitz, a lot of press man coverage up front, and a lot of single high safety. They have the personnel to do so. Patrick Surtain, defensive player of the year. He's the best cornerback in football. His game speaks for itself. You can put him on the best wide receiver of the opposing team. He's going to make life hell for them every single week. He's going to shut them down. He's that Richard Sherman, Darrelle Revis type of cornerback. Riley Moss on the opposite side, he's going to shut you down as well. Very good, consistent corner. He works very hard and is a very underrated athlete. You test him enough, he's going to make you pay. Jaquan McMillan, 2 years ago, special player in the secondary, even last season, very good. Now you look at it from this standpoint, you selected Jahdae Barron in the first round. He could play safety. He could play cornerback. He's a versatile player to have in that secondary. He had 5 interceptions, 11 pass deflections last season at Texas. This is a definition of a no-fly zone. And the Denver Broncos haven't had bad defenses since 2015. All their defenses every single year have been very good. Even some of their defenses have been top 10. The only problem has been their offense. And I trust in Bo Nix to go out there and to make the right play every single game and not to put this defense behind the 8 ball. We're looking at one of the best defensive units on paper for this upcoming year. And they had one of the best defenses last season. Jahdae Barron is so versatile. He can be that Patrick Surtain number 2 type of cornerback that you're looking for. Just a special player. And I expect for him to have immediate impact immediately And you need to have great defenders in this division. You have Justin Herbert, top quarterback. Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in football. And you have Andy Reid, one of the best head coaches, if not the best head coach in football right now. And the Chargers' entire roster, they're tough. No disrespect to the Denver Broncos. You got swept by the Chargers last season. But both of those games are close. You're just a couple plays away. And once again, benefit of the doubt, rebuilding year. I will use that. You don't have to, but I will. When they went against the Buffalo Bills, they shouldn't have been in that spot in the playoffs. You're still a young team. Second year with Sean Payton. You went against the Baltimore Ravens early in the year. The Ravens, they beat them up defensively and the same with their offense. Now look at this defense. With the Broncos, you're adding in veterans. Not only did you bring in Jahdae Barron in the first round, you have Patrick Surtain, the best corner in football, Riley Moss, Brandon Jones, who's a very good player to have at the free safety position. You bring in Dre Greenlaw, who's a phenomenal linebacker when he's fully healthy, and you bring in Hufanga. Now, if both these players can stay fully healthy, they're going to help this defense out to the next level. That's the one problem that I have. Dre Greenlaw is a special linebacker when he's playing alongside Fred Warner. Very good. But he tore his Achilles in that Super Bowl 2 years ago when they went against Kansas City. He's even dealt with injuries before then. He doesn't have to go out there and play every single game in the year. If he could play 85 to 90% of the games, that's a very good linebacking core. Hufanga, towards ACL a few years back, hasn't been that same player in terms of being healthy and staying on the field. But when he is on the field, he's a special safety to have. These are great pickups if these players can stay healthy. That's it. And you can say that about any player. But with the injury history of both of these guys, I am worried about it long term. But having Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw, two guys that have been to Super Bowls before, those are phenomenal pickups to have in free agency this year. Jonathan Cooper, very good linebacker at his position. And he had 10.5 sacks last season and 1 forced fumble. John Franklin Myers has been under the radar in terms of having a high pressure rate. Over 50 pressures over the last 2 to 3 years. Very good player in his own right. DJ Jones, solid defensive tackle. I don't have any complaints about him. He's not a superstar, but he's not bad, can do his job. Zach Allen. You just gave him $100 million for a reason. He's coming off a spectacular season last year with the Broncos. 8.5 sacks, and he's a pure run stopper at times. He wasn't even known for going out there and getting a high sack count. But that's what he was able to do last year in this system with Vance Joseph. You have Nick Bonito, very good player at the linebacking position. You have 2 bookends in terms of just having those edge rushers that can get to you at a consistent basis, having those strong defensive tackles that can stop the run, that can beat you up at the linebacker position. This is a complete football team on the defensive end. They're amazing on defense. And even down to some of their guys coming off the bench, they can give you very good production. Look at someone like P.J. Locke. He's a slept-on player. P.J. Locke is a solid safety to have. Now you have more depth in that secondary and more versatility. If you thought that they played a lot of zero coverage at times last season, you haven't seen anything yet for this upcoming season. And I mean this in the most respectful way. I'm a huge fan of Bo Nix and Sean Payton. They're going to lean their defense to go out there and help them win a lot of games for this upcoming year. Because let's just say you may only walk away with a field goal in one drive. That defense can go out there and turn over and get the football back to Bo Nix. They can go out there and they can walk away with some points on the defensive end like how they did against Jameis Winston and against other quarterbacks last season. Now you have to go out there and try to air out this Denver Broncos team. I trust the defense more than I trust your opposing offense. And once again, the AFC, you have so many talented quarterbacks like Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. They're all around. But don't sleep on the Denver Broncos. They're truly a dark horse in the AFC. And I'm not saying in this video that they're going to be a Super Bowl favorite. They're going to make this crazy playoff run. But this is going to be one of the most annoying teams to face for this upcoming season. The only problems that I have, one more time, would be the health of some of these players like Evan Ingram, the same with Hufanga, and Dre Greenlaw, pretty much all the free agents that they brought in. And it will be the receiving position outside of Cortland Sutton. Can Marvin Mims step up and make those big-time plays every single week? He needs to be more consistent. As a deep threat, very good. But you need to go out there and you need to be that consistent number 2 wide receiver. And the same with Devon. I know that they drafted Pat Bryant out of Illinois with the 74th pick. He's a Sean Payton type of player. 6'4", had 984 receiving yards his last season and 10 receiving touchdowns. And that's the one thing with Sean Payton. He can develop wide receivers to the next level. He can scheme open some of these wide receivers. But I expect for Bo Nix to take that jump for this upcoming year. And I expect for the Denver Broncos to be a better team. One more prediction. I do have 3 teams coming out of this division once again. No offense to the Raiders. You're still in this rebuilding type of phase. You're just trying to stabilize your organization with Geno Smith and Pete Carroll. But I do have the Broncos making the playoffs. The same with the Chargers. And the same with Kansas City, of course. And Kansas City may take a step back. We'll see. I still have them being the best team right now before the season starts in this division. But that number 2 spot is getting very interesting. And the Chargers and the Broncos, they match up very well with Kansas City. But let me know in the comment section below how you feel about Denver entering this upcoming season with Sean Payton and with Bo Nix. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless.